Hey, thanks for joining us on Music Marvels. I'm a chick with beats.
And I'm Breezy Gipson.
And we're delighted that you're with us. As always, we really appreciate you rocking with us. We're excited to share our show with you. We've got a dope interview coming up with Tyson and, of course, tons of music industry news. We try to sprinkle in some tips, and of course there'll be beats by yours truly. So, just in case you weren't aware, anytime you hear stuff playing in the background while we're talking, some of the instrumentals actually play during the show. I do produce them, so you can always check me out at Achickwitbeatz.com. And Breezy always has delightful stuff for you too. You want to tell them a little bit about it?
Well, we try to share some intrinsic value, give our listeners intrinsic value so that, during the show, they can look forward to hearing different comments that are always on the positive tip, or they're always on the awareness tip, just to keep everybody flowing in a great way, in a positive way, upward and outward. So, hey.
Yes, for sure. So, yeah, buckle up. We're going to go ahead and get started. If you're ready, you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Oh man, today's a great day. Today is a really good day and great day because, we're joined with a young man that's got a lot of focus. He's a very positive person. He knows what direction he's going into. And, now he's a scholar of business. Okay, so that means that he's not just some slouch, coming off the side of the street or whatever. So, we really are rolling out the red carpet for this young man. He's doing a lot of great things, as we mentioned. And for you, the listeners all around the globe, the one and only, hailing out of Orlando, Florida, and parts thereof, the one and only Tyson. Tyson, are you with us?
I'm here. Thank you so much for that introduction. Wow.
Hey, and we do have the red carpet rolled out for you for many reasons. And so as we get flowing, with a chick with beats and I share with our listeners who Tyson is, where he came from, and what it is that you represent in business and on earth today.
Wow. So I am a singer, songwriter, a writer mainly. That's my first passion. I not only write songs, but I write all sorts of things. And right now I'm finishing up my book that will be released in March. But I am an owner of a small business for mental health advocacy. It's called Intentional Life. And I am an independent recording artist. So that means that everything that a record label will do, I'm responsible for doing myself. So that's quite a lot of business hats that I wear. And that's about it. I'm just very active in the community, and I try to make sure that I'm spreading positivity and light to everybody and ensuring that we're all getting the resources and the encouragement that we need to just keep going every day.
Hang on, Breezy. He said that's about it. As if he didn't just say a mouthful. For anybody, listen, I want to make sure you understand how challenging it is to be an entrepreneur in any field, but to be one in multiple fields. And he said, that's about it. I love the humility.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've already got a question, but see, I'm going to defer to you, Achickwitbeatz, because, that's what we're supposed to do. So you got it.
Oh, that was pretty much my thing that I had to say. But if you're going to default to me, I would love to know more about when you fell in love with music and decided that you needed it to be a part of your life.
Oh, so my grandfather was a very passionate singer and songwriter. He was also a pastor for 36 years. So him and his brothers were in a quartet together. And when my mom and her sisters became of age, they forced them to be in a quartet as well. So they passed music down to my mom and her siblings. And then just for me growing up in it, I had a love, starting out with gospel music, but just a love to see people get up there and just share their gifts. And I would try to imitate the vocal runs and things that they would do. And because of that, I've been into music my entire life.
Okay. That's a strong. Hey, that's very strong and meaningful at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So now my first question, I've got to bring this up. I am so excited because you said that you're writing a book.
Yes.
Okay, so now hey, let's talk. Tell the listeners about that now. Come on. Hey, what's going on with it? And how did that happen?
Oh, so writing songs has always been just very cathartic and therapeutic for me because it allows me a chance to express myself and to tell different stories in ways that I feel like people can relate to. Something my grandfather told me a long time ago. It was like a parable. He said there was a guy who got cheated on by his wife and he was really upset about it. So he killed his wife and he killed the man that she cheated with. And then he ended up spending the rest of his life in jail. And another guy, his wife cheated on him and he was so upset about it that he wrote a blues song and became a millionaire. And from that story that I'm sure my grandfather made up, from that story, I realized how powerful it is to have any form of outlet where you can express yourself. And I think writing songs are usually, I feel like I'm limited a bit because I have to stay on beat and I have to make it rhyme. And I only got, 3 minutes. And I was like, I really want to tell my full story. So I'm writing a memoir right now, which gives me a chance to take all the limits off and just fully explain everything, starting from my grandfather's story and how that impacted my mom and how my mom's story has impacted me and my brothers and sisters. And it really helps people understand how I got to where I am today. All of the misconceptions and misunderstandings, all of the trauma. And I think that by me telling my story, it will help other people see that they're not alone in certain things that they go through. And there's a lot of life lessons that I've learned that hopefully people can learn through reading my story and not having to endure them themselves. But overall, I think it's really just a story about how we can all be more considerate and compassionate to our fellow brothers and sisters while we're here on earth together.
Yeah. Okay. And make a mental note, send us a JPEG of you with your book cover.
Absolutely.
Okay, because we need that. Okay, now I already got another question, but Achickwitbeatz. It's yours.
Okay, well, with everything that you've mentioned, Okay, mental health is definitely important across the board,
Yes, ma'am.
but so many creatives struggle with it. So, can you tell us a little bit about how your journey with it has maybe helped you, and exactly? Um, well, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how your work with that can affect other artists who might not necessarily realize that they need to pay a little more attention to it.
Yeah, that's a great question because I think like as creatives, when we create something, it's immediately judged by everybody. And we put it out there in the world and it's like we're bearing our souls for people to criticize it. And it's a different type of feel than anything else. Of course, with any job that you go to, you're gonna get judged, but usually just judged by like your supervisor. And you can decide within yourself, well, maybe my supervisor is cranky today, or maybe, they're just being mean or whatever. But when it's out there for the world, it's a group of strangers and it's a group of your loved ones. And it's just everybody that gets a chance to say whether or not what you've done matters. And I was telling someone a couple of days ago that I could spend 3 weeks working on something that takes you 3 minutes to listen to or 3 minutes to watch. And you can decide that you don't like it. And that can put me then in a state of feeling like, well, why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time on this? And I think a lot of creatives have like extremes of emotions because something for me as a writer is I feel like I feel things at a heightened level so that I can be able to write about it. Because if you ever feel an emotion and you're like, well, I don't really know how to put it into words, that's not something that I can say as a writer. I have to put it into words. So if I'm having a bad day, it's more than just a bad day. It feels like my world is falling apart. If I'm having a great day, it's like I'm manic. And as a creative, I just thought that was natural until in 2017, I was diagnosed with depression. And in 2019, I was diagnosed with anxiety. And it's just like the science behind it all and the medical part of it all is something that we sort of brush over as creatives because we just end up pouring all of our feelings into our art and we don't pause enough to say, is this okay? Am I okay? Am I able to continue giving myself to others without taking the time that I need to repair and heal? So I don't know if that answered your question. I feel like I went down a tangent there.
You answered it and then some. I mean, that's really, really important that, we have a lot of artists and creatives that listen to the show. And I know for a fact that this is very, very helpful information with you coming on and sharing this. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so now I'm going to swing. I'm going to make a swing over to Fun City, USA. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun City.
coming out of Orlando, Florida. Man, look, man. Okay, you got tourists coming down, you got the weather and everything. I'm not going to say anything about any hats with big ears on them. Okay. Okay, but see, which would be a shameless plug. But see, now, man, what was life like? I mean, you got gator farms all over. You got the rides. You got everybody smiling and everything. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Every time I think of Orlando, shoot, I'm smiling for days, man. So what's up, man?
See, now my response is going to be disappointing because you just built that up so well. So I just moved here in August, right? So I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is about 3 hours south from here. And about 20 minutes north of Miami. A lot of people don't know where Fort Lauderdale is, so I got to give you...
Oh, I know.
give you details here. But Orlando is actually like, I think, one of the coolest places that I've ever traveled to, let alone live in, because there's so much to do here. And there's all the parks, like you said, there's all of the amusement centers and museums and the gator farms and everything. And the weather is perfect here. You have to be patient with your driving sometimes, because you'll get the nanas and the grannies in front of you. But you just you just turn your music up and be patient and wait for them to move out the way. But like it's a really cool place here. I think the one thing that people may not know about Orlando, because everybody talks about the hats with the ears on them and all that kind of stuff, but the one thing people may not know about Orlando is that the people here are all just super kind, and everybody's very friendly. And if you ever just ask someone a question, it'll feel like you've known them your entire life, because they'll go into a conversation and everybody is just super friendly here. And that's been my experience. I don't know if other people will feel differently, but that's the one thing that stands out the most to me from anywhere else that I've lived. I've lived in South Florida. I've lived in North Florida. I went to college in Tallahassee. I lived in Atlanta. So coming to Orlando, I've met some of the coolest people. So I want to just mention that.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, you lived in Atlanta. That's Breezy's territory right there. Okay.
Yeah, I was there for 4 years.
Awesome. And no, okay. We normally like to dig into the deep stuff and the deep rooted things, the philosophical questions. But you said when you're in traffic, you gotta turn the music up. I want to know what you turn up when you're in that mode that you need to calm down when you're in traffic behind the people who aren't necessarily in a rush to get to places.
You know, my favorite traffic song is by Ludacris, and I won't say the title of it, but I'm sure you can assume.
Yes.
I know that one.
Yeah. You know what? Fun fact, my husband actually wanted that song played during my bouquet toss at our wedding.
Like your husband already. I think he's got great taste.
Nice.
You know, well, you know, when the Atlanta Braves won the title last week, when they had the parade and then it ended up at the stadium and everything, they had Ludacris, Jeezy, Big Boy, and Killer Mike on the stage all at one time giving a concert.
Ooh.
And the first song they played, that one right there.
You know, Atlanta has some of the greatest musicians of our generation.
Sincerely, absolutely.
That is awesome.
But see, the door is open now. The door is cracked open, and when you wrote that book, to me that was a big hook. And see, I didn't know that until the interview was flowing. Man, look, Achickwitbeatz, we can scan back all the way through people that we've had as guests, so on. So how many of them have you written a book?
Only one guest that I can think of right off the bat, and that's out of what I believe this will be our 67th episode since we relaunched. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let me say this. Okay, time is starting to look us in the face and the clock is running down, but share with our listeners what you want them to know about you that we did not ask you in this space.
Well, one thing that I definitely want to mention is that I just released an album, which is like my most exciting current situation going on, because it's 20 songs. And I actually started writing most of these songs 5 years ago. So it's been a long journey to be able to get this out on all music streaming platforms. It's available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Tidal, all those places. So it's called On the Edge, and it's very centered around mental health. And at the time, 5 years ago, when I was writing these songs, I had just went through a very crazy breakup. So if anybody's gone through a crazy breakup before, you'll relate to these songs. If anybody's had like just a difficult time in life in general, you'll relate to some of these songs. One of the songs I wrote is called Life, and I remember the day that I wrote it, I was sitting on my couch crying, just trying to make sense out of the death of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. And the Pulse nightclub in Orlando had just been shot up, and there was just so much going on during that summer. And I remember not being able to make it to work that day. And when I got to work the next day, I showed my supervisor the lyrics of the song Life I had wrote. And she was like, number one, why do you work here? Why are you not like making music full time? And number two, like, I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with all of this. So just to give you a little insight to some of the content that's on there, I ended up quitting my job to do this full time. So thank you to my former supervisor, Marianne. Just want to give her kudos for the push of encouragement. So want to let everybody know to go listen to that. And just the overall general thing about me is I'm just a really cool person. So connect with me, follow me on social media, DM me, do that sort of thing. I'm always open.
Where? Tell them where to follow you and connect with you.
Drop your handles.
You can follow me everywhere at Tyzen Life. That's TYZENLIFE. And I'm on Instagram mostly. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Snapchat at Tyzen Life, TYZENLIFE. You can also text me if you're not a social media person at 407-604-1919.
Hey man, that sums it up right there. You have busted in the door. You didn't just creep in the door. You busted in the door with the positivity and intelligence.
Right.
Thank you.
Hey, man, this guy's got a book under his arm. And when I was a kid, my father always used to say, man, you need to go bust a book. And so I'm telling you, and the title of your book again is?
Revelations to Resilience.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Yeah.
It has.
Thank you guys. I know I talk a lot. I get excited when people ask me about things I care about.
No, it's perfect. I mean, you have a story to share. Like, if people talk, they have to have something behind it where it doesn't feel like that. And you definitely have that. So, you've got the wisdom, the knowledge, and there's just something kind of magnetic about your energy. So yeah, we really appreciate having you on.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we put a little note on one of your Instagram posts earlier today, so when you look, you see that.
I've got to check that out. I've been sleeping a lot today. I just got back. I've been traveling. I did a road trip to 4 different cities to see friends and family. So
okay, and so by following you, your folks can see where those concerts are, or upcoming, or purchase your merchandise, or anything of the above.
Yes, all of the above. You have to follow me and connect with me. You can join my newsletter, and the best way to do that is just to send me a DM or a text message. Again, it's Tyzen Life, TYZENLIFE. My phone number is 407-604-1919. And I will make sure that I spam you with all of the information you need about everything going on, so you never missed anything.
Okay. Hey man, awesome. You know what? Now when you busted in that door, you came in prepared.
Yeah.
Achickwitbeatz, didn't he?
Absolutely. And I'm sure. Yeah. Go ahead and tell him that we need him back, right? You gotta let him
That's
know.
Right. Man, I know you don't think you're about to walk away, Renee, and never come back again.
No, I'm definitely coming back. Especially when the book is released, we have to talk about it, because there's some good stuff in there. And I want to hear you guys' feedback after you listen to the album. So
absolutely.
Okay. Gotta talk again.
You got it.
Done deal.
It's an open door for you.
Thank you.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, around from sea to shining sea and around the globe, on various networks, even some people driving down the street can hear you on their FM radio in their cars and so forth. But hey, we're glad to have had you. You've been listening to the illustrious voice of our guest, Tyzen, and you can follow him on Tyzen Life.
Yes,
anywhere around the spot. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much. I had a great time, guys.
Likewise.
Good deal.
All right. That was really, really a great interview. I love having him on. And I mean, he was just so positive and wise, so it was really, really good having him on the show.
Yeah. The first thing I think of, not musically wise, but actually verbally wise, is a long time ago, the Kool and the Gang had a song out. The first lyrics were, "He's fresh." But maybe they were saying she's fresh. I don't know, but I'm thinking of him. He's fresh because he's fresh and clean. Whole lot of great things coming on from Tyson. So thanks and big shout out to him.
Yes, can't wait to have him back. So, all right, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back with music industry news right after this.
Sounds good.
Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles. It is business. Big business.
Okay, and we're back with music industry news. Lots and lots of music label talk from the big three. Lots of things going on there. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Warner Music Group, their quarterly financials got a boost from digital revenue, which went up 19%. And so that rolls all the way to $926 million, thanks to emerging streaming platforms like TikTok and Peloton. So, once again, we had a conversation about how TikTok's kind of disrupting the music industry. Things are trending that people weren't expecting to trend and all that good stuff. So, Warner got to see a boost from that. And also with Peloton, as we shared a few weeks ago, that now people who use TuneCore can actually distribute their music there. So with Peloton, they've actually released that they've gotten a lot more users. So there's another way for you to be able to get your music into the hands of people who may not have heard it otherwise. So definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Hint, 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 hint. There's a couple of folks who have been using well-known YouTube, for years, and there's just some things happening with saturation of YouTube, which is causing income on that platform to drop. Okay, and a lot of those folks are they're keeping YouTube, but they're also opening up a Peloton and going in that direction too.
Yeah, just like we shared last week, their YouTube's ad revenue is larger than the entire music industry altogether. So the money's there, but just like you said with the saturation, and we're seeing that across so many different platforms. So that's really a good thing that you brought that up. And just like you were saying, people keep that in mind. Broaden your horizons. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Diversify. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of which, Hybe and Universal Music Group are working on diversifying as well. If you have been paying any attention, whether you listen to it or not, or don't want to listen to it, I know we had a guest a while back when we asked what his guilty pleasure was. He admitted it was BTS, the K-pop group. But I mean, if you pay attention to the way that they're just running the music world, it's insane. So now Hybe and Universal are working together to develop, they're going to use the same training that they use for their K-pop sensations in the development system, and now they're going to do it for an all-girl group. So the submissions are open online through almost the end of the month. I believe they close on the 28th. And if you know someone that might be interested in it, they can check it out at hybegeffen-audition.com. But it'll be really interesting to see how that how that works out, because pop girl group kind of having that star power behind them that BTS does should be really interesting to see. So kind of waiting for the outcome on that.
Yeah, let's get some popcorn and sit back and watch. See what happens.
Right. All right. Speaking of Universal, lots and lots of stories that include them today. But Universal Music and Authentic Brands have made a deal to acquire and manage names and likenesses. So, let me run that back again. They're acquiring it to manage names and likenesses. So this is something that's it makes sense, but they're making big strides here. So basically the venture is going to work with artists, and that also includes their reps and legal heirs and all that good stuff, to strategically leverage their name and likeness to drive opportunities in merchandise, memorabilia, licensing, brand experiences, media, entertainment, and whatever else they can come up with. So the fact that they're actually purchasing this kind of the same way that we've been seeing these music companies buy up music publishing is quite intriguing. We'll see what comes from that, good or bad. But I mean, it's a very sensible business move on their part.
Yeah, and next week, on our show coming up next week, I'll bring some value concerning the sports world, the college sports, with the name, image, and likeness deal that they got going on too. Where the athletes are making profit.
Okay. All right. And Republic Records is suing Republic Investment Platform over trademarks. So Universal Music Group and Republic Records are planning to expand into NFTs. And so they say that the platform that is out there for investments has already caused some confusion because music industry professionals, mistakenly thought that they were related. And so since they're not, they want to make sure that that's very clear, that they're not connected. So Universal Music Group is saying that they don't object to the use of the name for other investment services as long as it doesn't overlap with the music industry. So we'll see what happens there. The fact that they're already trying to make sure that there's a distinction lets you know that there's some big stuff on board.
Very interesting.
And one of those big things on board is Universal Music Group's 10/22 p.m. record label is turning 4 NFTs into a band called Kingship, comprised of 4 virtual apes. So apparently the apes have been popular in the NFT world, which I was unaware of prior to this. But now they're going to turn them into a band. And so there's going to be a team of crypto artists and animators. They're going to transform the apes into 3-dimensional beings that will perform and participate in video games, virtual reality apps, and all across the whole digital experiences known as the metaverse. We'll see how that works out. There's been some controversy, at least chatter about it on social media, Twitter and such, saying that it's basically a ripoff of the Gorillas, which, it does kind of seem the same. They've been performing virtually for a long time. And so, yeah, now instead of gorillas, it's apes. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. I've heard some buzz that Timbaland's going to be working with them. So, regardless of how you feel about that particular situation, if he's working with them, it's probably going to be some music that you're going to nod your head to anyway. And you may just forget about the fact that, it's kind of a duplication of what Gorillaz has been doing. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, they're putting their foot back into the Planet of the Apes realm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, a lot of folks said similar, 30 years ago when all of that came out.
Yeah. Good point. All right. So once again, Universal is now making new contracts that will make it more difficult for artists to re-record their work. So, Taylor Swift has kind of been known for championing for artists, and of course everybody heard about when she wanted to re-record her masters so that way she had the rights to her songs again. And so now that this has kind of stirred some buzz and other people are talking about doing it, they're reworking the standard contracts. So before, it would say that an artist didn't re-record their work until 5 years after their last delivered recording or 2 years after the end of their contract, whichever was latest. So now the new one will increase the time to, you have to wait 7 years. And then after the contract term, 5 years to record. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a concept, or people are thinking that maybe that means that they'll increase royalties if they're going to do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, what comes to mind with that is several of the huge automakers in the world. You mean to say if they make the 2022 model, you mean to say that's similar to saying that for 2023 they can't go back and make any improvements?
Yeah.
2024 or 2025, or unless they wait 7 years, 5 years. That's kind of
Well, see, the thing behind it is that's the way to keep them from owning the masters. And then if you talk to your fans behind it, then the fans will go for the new one, and then the record label's not getting the money that they had initially signed on for. So, when they offer those advances, it was based on their calculations of what they were going to be getting for X amount of time. But by re-recording your masters, you're kind of, I wouldn't want to say you're taking away from what they were anticipating getting. I'm not saying that they earned it or deserved it, but that's what they were budgeting on. So
I wonder what Prince would say about that.
I'd like to think that he'd be really, really proud of those who were trying to do that before Universal decided to rework their contracts. But you know what? Since you brought him up, this isn't really news, but I was gonna shout this out anyway. A story came out where Moni Love was discussing that she was trying to do a rap show in London, and she had her daughter with her, and Prince actually held her daughter so she could go on stage and rap at a London show. How dope is that?
Oh, that's dope right there.
Yeah. As soon as I read that, I thought, man, she's got to have a tremendous amount of self-control, because if that ever happened to me, there's no way I wouldn't tell everybody about that every day. Like, are you going to tell me about the time Prince held your baby? Yes, I am. You're going to sit here and listen again. But no, just what an incredible person, though, sincerely.
Yeah. I mean, that stop the presses. Stop the presses. Oh, man. Wow.
Yes. All right. And back to our music label speak. Snapchat has signed a new deal with Sony Music, so now their music is going to be available on Snapchat as well. So now they've got all 3 major labels, publishers, and many indie music available on the platform now. So that's pretty cool. It's a good thing that they're securing that. It seems like they've still been able to go along, pretty strong, considering all the platforms that have emerged since they started. So yeah, kudos to them for that. And also to any artists out there listening, knowing that, make sure that you distribute your music to Snapchat. Don't forget about these social media networks. Even though Snapchat doesn't want to be called that, I think it's like a camera platform or something they said. But any place that people go to share their life stories, to share what they're doing, their thoughts, if there's music to be shared with that, make sure that yours is there.
Now that is a valuable nugget. So don't let that slip by. If you're a musician, singer, whatever, producing music, making music, don't let that slide by.
Yes. All right, we're going to take another quick pause for the cause, and we'll be right back with more music industry news after this.
Okay.
and we're back. For anybody that remembers or has used or maybe checked out some other artists on Reverb Nation, they have been purchased by BandLab. So BandLab already owns, a lot of creator tools and services. They've even got music media. If you've ever seen NME, they give a lot of good music information. So, now they went ahead and bought Reverb Nation, which was a super easy way to have your electronic press kits and stuff set up through there. Anytime you just wanted somebody to check out your stuff before you could send it, it made it really easy to send your music to people. And it was pretty, it lost a little bit of popularity, but it still remained a valuable thing to use. So I'm really excited to see what BandLab does with it, in addition to everything that they're already doing with music related things.
Hey man, you keep bringing these great tips every week, and I think you top yourself sometimes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So again, I've said it before to the listeners, you need to get your own little notebook, because if you document some of these news stories that Achickwitbeatz brings forth, and at the end of the day, you're going to be on a higher educational level in the business music world. That's for sure. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you. That is the goal. All right. TuneCore has launched social platforms. So this is meant to accelerate music discovery for independent artists. So now your music can be uploaded to social media networks as a pre-step before you actually release your music to streaming and other platforms. So, but this way they're trying to help the discovery and help things go viral before it actually comes out, but you can still have your music monetized right away. So, this is a really interesting thing that they're doing. Once again, this TuneCore, they've kind of tapped into some things here, and hopefully other distributors will kind of follow suit. But yeah, TuneCore is definitely making some huge strides lately here within these last few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Empire, the record label, paid $1 million advance in Bitcoin via Cash App to Atlanta-based artist and cryptocurrency investor Moneyman for his new album called Blockchain. And so, this was the first deal of its kind. And once Meek Mill heard about it, he plans to do the same thing. He wants his next record deal to be paid in Bitcoin. So, we'll kind of see how that works out. But yeah, kudos to him for doing this. And yeah, from your city, Breezy, Atlanta. How about that?
How about that? The wheels keep turning. The wheels keep turning. Atlanta is a good example, but actually the wheels keep turning everywhere, in each neighborhood, in each city, all across the globe. So, if you got some ideas, put them into action. Talk to some people, get some consulting or whatever, because these same news stories that you hear Achickwitbeatz reading every day, every week, that could be you. That could be a description of your big breakout. So just stay encouraged, stay positive, and put your head down and do the work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. And Twitch has launched The Collective. So it's a live streaming incubator program for artists. And so the plan is supposed to be DistroKid, United Masters, and TuneCore, along with Twitch, intend to identify and invite artists to apply and work with Twitch so that way they can curate artist selection. So right now the application is open to the public. There will be some that are invite only, but if you think you got what it takes, you want to give it a shot and try to get in, go ahead and visit the Twitch website to check it out.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
All right, and if we hop across the water to our friends in Australia, Victoria's live music industry is going to be receiving $20 million in funding and insurance measures to help boost music and other events across the place. So $8 million is going to go to help music venues recruit, train new staff, and invest in COVID-safe infrastructure. Another $8 million is going to go to help music festivals and events recover from uncertainty and the impact of their rescheduled and canceled events because of the pandemic. And the other $4 will go to bring music performances, the centralized business district, inner cities, and basically to complement another previously announced 5 million that was supposed to support that area. So it's great that their government is helping to bring music and entertainment back. That's a wonderful thing. So kudos to our musician friends in Australia. This is a great thing. We're excited for you.
Hey, kudos, big kudos.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Hipgnosis Songs Fund, their share price hits an all-time high on the London Stock Exchange. So they say that the spike in the share price is driven because the founder, Mercuriadis, had inked a deal with Blackstone. So Blackstone committed at least $1 billion to a new private fund that will acquire music copyrights. So now there's going to be 2 Hipgnosis branded funds operating in the marketplace. One, the publicly traded Hipgnosis Songs Fund, and then the Blackstone-backed Hipgnosis Songs Capital. So, once again, we talk about Hipgnosis usually a few times a month on here because they're always doing new things and, making new deals, these major purchases. And so, they've been working hard. So it's kind of cool that they're seeing that reflected in their stock prices.
Boy, does it ever end? No, it doesn't. It builds more and more each and every day. So, wow, that's strong.
All right. And Spain has announced that touring UK musicians and their crews won't need visas anymore for engagements that are less than 90 days. So, that's good news. Post Brexit, they had to have visas and it was just a whole issue. So now Spain has lifted that. So good news for our friends in the UK.
Great news. I know they're jumping up and down about that.
Yes. And Afrochella Festival returns with WizKid for Made in America 2021. So shout out to our listeners in Ghana. We really appreciate you. We know that you're here. We thank you for tuning in every week. But yeah, Ghana's where it's going down in Accra, and it's going to happen on December 28th. The event's supposed to celebrate the culture, creativity, and impact Africa has had on the entire world. And so, it sounds like it'll be an exciting time, bringing awareness of Africa's influence in music, art, fashion, and food.
Strong big ups to Accra and the entire realm of Ghana.
Yes. All right. And last up before we head out, Amazon announces that they've launched Amazon Music for Colombia and Chile. And so now they're going to have the access to the high def songs and all the good stuff that we have for everywhere else that has Amazon Music. So they've joined the ranks. So another thing for artists to keep in mind, Amazon's expanding, and you definitely want to make sure that your music's there if you haven't already.
Yeah, it's cool, and we want to give a quick shout out to some of our buddies and friends. First of all, Miss Rebecca Ling out of the Netherlands, and Barry Brown, B. Rich Brown. This is the like an Instagram shout out list. B. Rich Brown in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as the one and only DJ D.I.S. Sparks out in Denver. Ronan Tai Chi, I am Rudy P, who's down in the state of Mississippi in the United States, and on and on and on. This is just a short, brief Breezy down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, our buddy. And so Rob Love Funny, who's in Memphis, Tennessee. So we got lots of folks that we're going to start with our shout out list each and every week just to give them a shot of positivity.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, yeah, we definitely thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate everyone on the shout out list. And, make sure that you tune in next week. Same time, same place. Tell a friend. We'll see you then. Peace.
Yes, peace.